Holy smoke, why are you guys sitting all the way back there?
Because they have to.
I can bring my hook, you guys can come closer. What's up, gang? Everyone good? So we got microphones to the right, some to the left. I've got my thinking cap on so I can answer all the questions. Sometimes I'm good at it, sometimes not. How's everyone doing? Good? You guys are all getting ready for Sunday, huh? Good to see Madeleine and Vanessa. How you doing there?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Did you originally want to play Hal Cooper?
I actually read originally to play Fred. So if you remember do you remember the first season when Archie said that Archie and Fred had a conversation on the deck of their house, and Archie said that he wanted to play music, and his dad was trying to convince him to stick with football because he could get scholarships. Well, that's the scene that I read for the producers. Yeah. So when I found out that Luke was playing that role, then they asked me if I'd be interested in playing Hal Cooper, and I couldn't really remember who Hal Cooper was in the comics. And I hadn't read the whole pilot because they don't give us the scripts. Even now, we only get the scripts like a couple days before we actually shoot. And so I just had to find out. I said, what will Hal be part of? What's his storyline? And then when I found out, I thought, well, I really liked the pilot, the way the show came out, and so I was really happy that I just agreed to play Hal Cooper, and here I am. I didn't know I was going to be the Black Hood, though. You're welcome.
So, how was it like working with Luke Perry? And can you elaborate a little bit more on him since
Well, the interesting thing for me is that I started out in the film industry in Vancouver with Jason Priestley. And Jason, when he first moved to LA, he was kind of the first guy out of my group. There was about 5 of us, and Martin included, Martin Cummins, who plays Sheriff Keller. He was kind of in that circle of guys who were involved in the industry back then. And so when Jason first moved down to LA, we'd come down to LA and we'd always hang out. And so I actually I'd known Luke since we were probably 23 or 22 years old. And Luke was always, even back then in the height of sort of his Beatle fame, which, believe me, it really was, because I used to go out with those guys, and it was pretty crazy to go anywhere with Jason and Luke, because it was just mayhem all the time. But he was always humble. He was always so humble and so gracious to people. And I don't know if anyone here has ever had the chance to meet Luke at one of these things, but man, he really appreciated the fan base, and he really liked people, and he would always take a lot of time with each person to talk to them. And he was a human first. He was not Luke Perry the star. He was just Luke the guy. So it was a really sad day for us. That the day we found out the news, and so I count my blessings. I was able to know a person like that. So really wonderful person, and sadly missed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a 2-part question. Do you prefer playing comedies versus drama? That's the first part. Second part is, which characters do you personally identify with the most in Riverdale?
Well, definitely my own personality kind of lends itself to comedy more. I think I'm more that guy. I really enjoy telling dramatic stories. So both mediums are really fun for me to be able to do both. I'd probably lean a little more towards comedy for sure. And the person that I relate to most on the show would be, I think I'd enjoy to play Archie on the show if I was that age. I know you all thought I was KJ's brother. We're quite a few years apart. I know it's astounding. But yeah, I think I relate. The kids are all so good at playing all their characters. I mean, Jughead is a great character as well. You know, I really enjoyed I enjoyed the arcs and where the storylines have gone, but my favorite season is still season 1 when it was all about character. You know, Jughead was this kind of like outsider kid. He was a little kind of odd, but he lurked in the shadows and knew everything that was going on. And, you know, having him do the voiceover for the intro of the show, just fantastic, you know. So I really enjoyed that version of Jughead. I think he's still a great character, but I'm a little more character driven as far as what I like personally in my taste than I am, you know, the storyline of, you know, who's doing all the killing in town and who is the Gargoyle King and stuff like that. So I hope for season 4 they go back to a little more relationships. You know, it's about relationships and character. That's what's interesting for me. You know. You're welcome.
Hi. So I noticed that your eyes were blue,
Yeah.
and the Black Hood eyes are green.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wear colored contacts when you play the Black Hood?
Okay, so let me... Who on the show has green eyes? I wonder. So I'll let you in on a little secret. I never was supposed to be the Black Hood. And to tell you the truth, I didn't ever play the Black Hood. I found out that I was the Black Hood in season 2 when I showed the Cooper home movie. That's when I found out I was the Hood. Right when you guys did it. So all along, the Hood was always played by a stunt actor. And because the producers and everyone wanted to keep it a secret from us. Now, my theory is, I think all along, the Black Hood was Sheriff Tucker. And somewhere around the Carrie musical is when, you know, the scripts were more about Betty sort of thinking that it was her dad who was the killer. And, you know, because I always looked at the Carrie musical and I thought, how did I, like, I'm out in the audience, how did I hang Midge on a wall? I didn't quite understand that. I always asked the writers, you know, even my reaction when they revealed Midge, I said to the writers, because I was trying to kind of dig and find out, you know, if I was the Hood, and I kept going up to them going, so should I be really freaked out here? It's like, is this freaky to me? And they were looking at me like, why am I asking that weird question? And so I was trying to get them to go, oh yeah, no, this is scary, like someone's been killed. So, yeah, so now, I don't remember this, but people have said to me that when I did the scene in the Cooper house showing the movie, that somehow they slightly computer CGI'd my eyes to be a bit green. Did you notice that at all? I haven't watched it since someone told me that. But
I didn't.
yeah, so maybe if you go back to that last episode, it's not the last episode, it's episode, what, 21 of season 2? So episode 21 of season 2, maybe they did to make it look like that. But yeah, I know my eyes are very much blue, and it was always referenced, and you know, the green eyes was such a big reference, right? That's why I was like, so, let's see. So, I mean, I still have my theories, you know. I don't know if you guys remember that Carrie musical, but do you remember when I brought the flowers to Alice and she said, well, I'm allergic to peonies, but you wouldn't know that. We've only been married for 20 years. I always thought that was an Easter egg, that was never Hal Cooper. And that, you know, with the Blossom blood and everything that runs in the family, you know, really, you know, is that Black Hood even Hal? So, I don't even know, to tell you the truth. The very end, and I hope everyone has seen the last episode of season 3, but, you know, Penelope shoots a gun, and it looks like Hal's dead, but they never really showed Hal after you heard the gunshot, right? All they did is you heard the gunshot, they cut to Betty's reaction, and then the gargoyles all chasing them through the woods. It never ever came back to, well, you know, was Hal, you know, did Penelope just have a blank in the gun? You know, am I in cahoots with her? Is that even Hal Cooper? I don't know. They haven't told me, so.
Thank you.
That was a long-winded answer, wasn't it? But I don't know really what to say to you guys, because I feel bad if I tell you that it was always me with the hood on. The only time I ever wore the hood, to tell you the truth, was the very last episode when I walked out of the forest and I pulled the hood off. Or I should say, when I also at the dinner, right? Because I walked out with Chick, which was so funny standing beside Hart wearing that outfit he had on. It was hilarious. It's all we could all do to not laugh when we first walk out, because all the, you see the camera shooting on us. Excuse me. Everyone else is sitting at the table off camera, and KJ and Cole and Lily and Cammy are just howling at Hart, right? They have this relationship where they couldn't hold it in, and so Hart and I are supposed to stand there looking all intimidating and all, and they're just laughing at us. So it's kind of funny.
Okay, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit.
Sure.
I want to know kind of what it was like working on the set of Lucifer back a couple years ago in season 1.
Well, the cast of that show is fantastic, and the lead of the show is really good, like very charismatic. I really wish that you know what, to tell you the truth, they were going to bring that character back last season. I don't know for how long or what the purpose was, but I couldn't do it because I was too busy with Riverdale. So, they just checked to see if I was available for them, and then they couldn't bring me back just because I couldn't do it. So I'm not too sure where they were going to go with that character. But of course, with Lucifer being able to steal people's souls, when my character actually shot himself, maybe he stole my soul, so I was able to come back. So. Yeah, that was a fun little arc. I wish I could have done a bit more on the show.
Thank you.
You will.
Throughout your entire career, which was your favorite project to work on and why?
Let's see. Well, I must say for me that my first movie with the Wayans family, Scary Movie, was a lot of fun. They just generate this atmosphere where they really embody improv and taking risks and trying stuff. I mean, Keenan, they have a blueprint, and I was telling someone earlier, they had a blueprint for that movie, the script, and we always shot the blueprint. We'd get that taken, and Keenan would challenge everyone to just try stuff. And for that movie, most of the stuff that I found that we improv was what was in the movie. So, and I enjoyed White Chicks with them and Little Man. I mean, they're a lot of fun to work with. They're really gracious, and they keep a great atmosphere. And Keenan's such an intelligent guy that he's just a lot of fun to be around. So I would say that, Scary Movie. When I was really young, my first Western that I ever did was called Unforgiven, which was a movie that Clint Eastwood directed. And thanks, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And, and it won the Oscar, and, so it was really, really cool to be around that as well. I was pretty young at that time. So I would say probably Unforgiven and Scary Movie are two that stand out, but I honestly, I enjoy every job that I do. I really love creating characters, and I've been really lucky to be in a lot of fun films. You're welcome.
Hi. What has been your favorite role to play and why?
Well, this is going to sound kind of strange, but there used to be a TV show called Without a Trace. I don't know if you guys remember that show. But I played this character on Without a Trace. It's so silly to think of all the work that I've done, and I have this episode of TV that still remains true to my heart. And so what it was is I played this young cop who went undercover as a realtor to take down a certain mob for money laundering. And while my character is in this situation, he gets brought to a Russian brothel. And oh my gosh, I think I met some people from Russia today. I don't know if they're sitting out here. So my character was so distraught by seeing them bring over these young females from Russia that I blow my cover to save the girls, and now I'm on the run from the mob. So that was the whole storyline, was that the main characters, they find out that this realtor has gone missing, and they come to my wife, who knows that I'm an undercover cop. And they're like, hey, so your husband's missing, and he's a realtor, she kind of looks at them and says, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but my husband isn't a real estate salesman, he's a police officer. And so then the whole story kicks in. And it was one of the few times that a guest character has ever interacted with the main cast on that show, because it was called Without a Trace, meaning that the whole thing was about missing people. And so this whole storyline would all be about them trying to figure out where this missing person went. They never actually interacted, but at the very end of that episode, I interact with the lead character, Anthony Lapalia's character, and so he brings my wife to me down in the docks, and now I'm on the run from the mob, and that's how the show ends. So, sorry to long wind that one, but it brings back good memories because it was so interesting. But it was the episode of Without a Trace. It was called Lone Star. So I think it's on iTunes if you guys ever get a chance. And you know, you have $2.99 to waste. Check it out. It's a really great episode. There you go. But I do love most of the stuff. You know, I enjoy everything that I do. You know, I'm really grateful.
How is it being the Black Hood?
Well, okay, so when I first found out I was the Black Hood, I can honestly tell you I didn't want to be the Black Hood. I was kind of devastated, really, because my first thought was that, okay, so what's happening with this guy? Is someone going to kill him? Does he go to prison? Did they write him out of the show? So, excuse me, my first thought was that, because I really enjoy doing the show, and I love all the people I get to work with. And so the showrunners came up to me and said, no, it's not over, it's just a different arc. So ending up in prison, you know, like, interesting, the character's much more interesting, much more dimensional, and I was able to create that. So that was a bit more challenging than playing, you know, Al Cooper in a sense. But I knew that I was going to be segregated from the rest of the town and meeting the rest of the cast. So I basically did the whole season 3 was just Lily and I. You know, we would do most of those episodes in one day, because we would just shoot all the scenes in the prison in one day. So I never really got to see everyone all year. So that was kind of a bummer for me. So that was really the only thing that came to mind. I enjoyed playing the character. I thought the prison scenes with Lily were really cool. The sort of the relationship that was going that way. And then when I found out I was escaping, I honestly in my mind thought, oh man, this is gonna be great. Like maybe I'm gonna save Alice and/or Betty from a moment where the Gargoyle King is gonna almost kill them or someone, and then I'm gonna redeem myself. That's what I thought was happening. And then all of a sudden I'm chasing Betty around the school with a hook. You know, we never see this stuff coming. They don't tell us anything, you know, until we get that script. So we'll see what happens now. I just have to wait.
I have a two-part question. So who would be like your dream cast to work with in a movie? And then when did you find out that Chick was going to be on the Gargoyle?
Is it working? Battery's dead. Oh, battery went dead? Oh, okay, Ed, maybe you can just speak up a little and tell me what your second part was?
When did you find out Chick was the Gargoyle King?
Oh, Chick. I found out Chick was the Gargoyle King while the kids were laughing at us at the dinner scene, because I didn't know. I found out that Hart was in that episode, and I was like, hold on, didn't I kill him in the woods? Didn't I take care of Chick? And then all of a sudden I found out. Yeah, that's really how it works, honestly, guys. We find out script to script. And then my dream cast, gosh, I don't know. There's so many great performers, right? I mean, for me, I think it'd be really interesting to do a movie with Sean Penn. He always creates great characters, always involved in great storylines. He would be one, and then I think I'd really enjoy doing the movie with Will Smith as well. Will Smith seems like he's a lot of fun on set. You know, comes and does his job, and I think he seems like a guy who keeps it pretty light, so he'd be fun to work with.
In season 2, was there a point when you first started to think you were the Black Hood?